What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today I did want to talk about something here on Motorfest that I do feel like other people probably have thought about, and with everything going on in some of these games now, I feel like, you know what, why don't we discuss this a bit more? Which, funny thing is, I was going to talk about this in an older video, but I'm like, you know what, maybe right now is a good time to do it. So that is going to have to do with the classes in the game, and are they really going to make this game better? What I mean by that, though, is not going to be Tier 1 and Tier 2 streetcars or something like Hyper. No, I'm going to be talking about the motorcycles, the boats, the planes, the monster trucks, the demolition derby, also the jets and the helicopters. Again, something you are most likely not going to see in a bigger racing game, which I do feel like is something that is going to set Motorfest apart. So a few different reasons on why I did want to discuss this. So I was noticing people talking about this on Discord and kind of going, yo, can you guys imagine if they remove some of these classes from the crew? Like, imagine them getting rid of planes, powerboats, motorcycles, and all that stuff in the next game. Maybe they're going to fully focus on cars or something. Who knows? Now, I'm just saying that, as an example. But the one thing, though, is someone was like, well, if they did end up removing all of those classes, though, wouldn't that make Motorfest even less unique than it currently is going to be in some aspects? Like, a lot of people might look at that and go, yo, if you remove the motorcycles, the planes, the powerboats, and you have just hypercars, street racing, and all that stuff, then what is truly going to set Motorfest apart from some of the other racing games that it will end up competing against? Now, one of the interesting things I found about this, though, is we all do know right now if they did end up removing some of the classes from the game that, to be honest, guys, I really don't know if people would end up even noticing about it, because I do feel like to a certain extent some of the classes aren't used enough or even going to be utilized enough for that matter for most people to even notice. So who knows, maybe if they did end up removing something like the motocross bikes, and I do hate to say this, but we can also agree that the drag cars are kind of going to be very lost in time, and I feel like they could probably do so many better things with them. For example, more events, or even make the drag cars a tad better with handling and some other things and stuff like that as well. Who knows if that is really going to happen, but I would say that would probably end up helping classes out. Something like a drag category that most people do not like, or they're probably going to level up and then basically are forgotten about. Now, we're also going to have along the lines of something like maybe the motocross bikes being removed. Would people like it? I do feel like a lot of people might be like, no, I really want the motocross bikes in there. Or what would probably end up happening is most likely, oh no, they removed the bikes and now we're going to want the bikes back in the game, even though most people don't even care about them before and they probably barely even use them. This can also go along the lines of something like the demolition derby vehicles, which again, I really did enjoy this class in the crew too, guys, but I gotta admit, in Motorfest, I really don't think this class has any point of being in the game. Now, I do understand we're going to have Demolition Royale, but again, though, who actually plays that? I mean, that game mode's going to be hard to even find people in at times, and I feel like a lot of people are probably not even going to bother with it. And the funny part about this, though, is I do feel like a lot of people might end up being similar to me, going, okay, well, if they do end up removing the Demolition Derby, you're probably not even going to notice. I mean, heck, there is no races for this class in the game anyway, so who is really going to notice? We're also then going to have the other class I feel like they probably could remove that really doesn't have a big stance in the game either. This one might end up being a tad controversial, guys. Let me know your thoughts, but that's going to be the monster trucks. Now, before you say anything, the reason why I do say this is, again, a lot of people... I mean, I don't even think a lot of people even care about this category unless you have to use it, whether that's going to be a summit or even in grand race or something like that. But I really do feel like this class, alongside multiple other classes, really were going to be afterthoughts in Motorfest. So it kind of does make me wonder, will the Crew 4 probably have classes like this in there? Like, are they going to have a gigantic map again? Are they going to utilize some of these classes like Monster, like Demolition Derby again? It really does make you think about it. And I was kind of using the monster trucks a bit. Now, there's not going to be any events for these either. I think there's like maybe 2 of them, and they're going to be main races. Yes, there is going to be the custom mode, but honestly, nobody wants to drive a monster truck in a really long race around a track for 8 minutes. That doesn't sound very fun. And that was probably something I've thought about almost since launch, guys. It's kind of insane that Motorfest is heading to 2 years now, and we still don't have a lot of things for these classes. I do understand this game is going to be different. The entire map design of Motorfest is obviously obviously different than the Crew 2. But am I the only one that does kind of miss the other events with Monster and Demolition Derby? We did end up having the ones where you go in like an arena thing, get points and all that, and then they were also going to have that other update to where there's going to be custom races, where there's going to be like roundabout things like half pipes and stuff like that, and you had to grab the crates. There was going to be jumps set up in certain areas for the monster trucks, and I found those to be very fun. On top of that, we also had the Demolition Derby races that added some interesting things, like the things that could come out and hit you. We had like the figure eight races, which is obviously a Demolition Derby thing. You smash into each other, you get the other thing that does more damage. Then we're also going to have the main Demolition Derby events, which are also very fun. But for some odd reason, none of that stuff is in TCM. So a lot of people are like, yo, we have these special classes in the game, which I do hear you, okay? I understand we're going to have powerboats and planes and the monster Demolition Derby. But the thing is, though, if they're not really going to utilize these said classes as really much as they should, are they really going to be that unique to the game if they're kind of just thrown in there as like an afterthought, or like, hey, we are going to have these special classes and other games don't? Okay, that's cool, but are you actually using the classes how they should be? Are they going to be fun? Do players want to enjoy them? Do players want to use them? I do know for a fact a lot of people probably don't really use the boats that much and stuff like that. I kind of wish we had more boat events and different things around the entire island. Again, the entire game of Motorfest is surrounded by water, so not having more boat events kind of does not make any sense whatsoever. And also, with that being said, it does kind of stink how basically only the Vector's fairly decent, and then the Proto WR1's like one of the best boats. And most of the other boats basically feel like you're trying to drive the Titanic through the water, so that probably isn't going to be that much fun of an experience. Then we're also going to have the planes, which in Motorfest, we all do know they did end up adding the aerobatics and the air racing planes into one category, and then that was pretty much it. Although I did miss doing the aerobatic type of things with planes. I thought that was fun, at least, in the Crew 2. I don't know how people like them in the summits, as they can sometimes be fairly difficult and also a bit annoying. But I did find those events to be different, more entertaining, also giving you a reason to fly a plane. Then you're also going to have the different air race events and stuff, which I really do feel like they could take massive advantage of this, guys. And the reason why I say it, what other open world racing game besides Grand Theft Auto is going to have planes in it and also a jet, bro? And the funny part is that's a very easy answer, because there is literally nothing that is going to be able to compete with that, where this game is going to have powerboats, airplanes, monster trucks. We're also going to have motorcycles in there. Again, this is going to be the only big open world racing game that has this stuff, which honestly can go back to that one video I made. It really is frustrating because, guys, look, Ivory Tower, Ubisoft, seriously, I know you guys, I don't know if you guys watch my videos, as I say, I know you might, I don't know. Either way, if you guys really want this game to do great, you got to take advantage of what makes this game different, and this is going to be one of them that really sets this game apart, because there is nothing else that has this stuff. But it also does make me wonder, is the Crew 4 going to have any of these classes, bro? It kind of feels like they were all afterthoughts in TCM, and now we're obviously going to have the helicopter again and stuff like that, which is the same one from the Crew 2. A lot of people don't even bother flying it. That thing was going to be cool for probably 20 or 30 minutes, similar to the jet, to where people are like, yo, we got a jet, we got a helicopter. But then it turns out, again, there's not going to be events for them that people want to enjoy that are going to be new. So a lot of the overall thing around the vehicles are probably like, I mean, these are cool, but I really don't feel like doing the same races I've already done in planes basically for around 2 years. So why not have some new events, again, to spice something up that's not going to be in basically any other game besides Grand Theft Auto. With all of that being said, guys, we all do know a lot of these classes right now, people probably do want them in the game, at least I think they do. But then again, though, on the same side of that, if a lot of these classes were going to be removed, or some of them weren't even going to be in the game, to be honest, I feel like many people probably would barely even notice they're not even going to be in there, which again is going to come down to the classes not being utilized. I mean, heck, guys, I even feel like in some ways Rally Raid and Rallycross isn't being utilized enough. If we go to look at the map right now, let me head over to the map here and head over to filters, and then let's go over to events. Let's head over, let's see, vehicle category. Let's go over to Rally Raid. We're going to have 24 events, which is honestly fairly decent. Although if we head over to Maui, though, yeah, you guys see the problem with this? You see the problem with this? There is literally nothing on Maui besides this event and this one doesn't even count, bro. This event right here basically doesn't count because you basically drive the vehicle down pretty much this area and then you switch to a police car. So no, it is basically going to be one rally raid event on Maui, bro. Just think about that. Seriously, just look how empty this is. And you guys are telling me there's no room for any rallycross races or rally raids? Speaking of rallycross, oh, you guys want to see Rallycross? Let me head down here. Let's go do Rally. Where's Rallycross? Did I miss it? It's Rally, not Rally. That's 5, bro. 5. There's going to be 2 races here, which is going to be a tiny area for that one. Then we're also going to have this one, which is basically only in this area, bro. The issue I have with this is, for one, if we are going to look at this, guys, I have talked about this in other videos, so I'm not going to go over it a ton, but there is a lot of off-road areas on this entire mountain, bro. Look at this road network here, bro. They can have races anywhere around these areas here, and there is nothing. There's only 2 of them. So am I the only one that kind of gets a bit concerned going, yo, Rally Raid and Rally also is a bit forgotten. And I feel like in some ways they're kind of just pushing these classes away and focusing on, was that going to be Street and Hypercar basically is going to be the main focus, man. So yeah, we could probably get rid of Rally and Rally Raid. And I feel like a lot of people would probably notice there because some people do like to off-road, man. But look, where's the events and where's the love for other classes? That would set this game apart, bro. If you are going to focus fully on racing, let's say racing hypercars straight tier 1 and 2, and everything else is going to be thrown away in some ways, which honestly at the moment, it kind of feels that way. What's going to happen? I can tell you right now, it is probably not going to be a good thing at all. I could definitely say that because a lot of people might go, oh man, we want more events and stuff like that, or what is really going to set this game apart? If we had just regular street and hypercars, which in ways I feel like that is kind of where this game is going a bit, then I kind of feel like a lot of people might end up getting tired of it and most likely go, well, what is going to set this game apart from CarX Street or something like Forza Horizon, right? And then those questions are going to make players go to other games because what's supposed to be special in this one is just not there. Speaking of all that, the last thing I did want to talk about in this video is going to be the motorcycles, alright? I had to save this for the end because this really does frustrate me a lot, guys. The only other game I've always loved that had motorcycles in it was going to be Midnight Club, okay? We also did end up having Burnout Paradise. I love the bikes in that game as well. We even have Need for Speed Unbound that's going to have the BMW S1000RR in it. And funny thing is, that is probably going to be one of my favorite games, at least for riding a bike in, because they did a really good job at it. What I mean by that is modern games, by the way. They did a really good job at how the bike does feel. It's even better than TCM's bikes. And this game really is going to sell the entire thing of, yo, we have motorcycles in the game. The thing is, though, do you really? Do you, though? Because here's the thing. A lot of the bikes in this game are going to be from the Crew 1. Most of them actually are. There is going to be a few new ones, like we did end up having something like the Harleys and stuff like that. And we are going to obviously have something like maybe the Ducati or like the Honda. The Ducatis were actually going to be back in the Crew 1. But we're also then going to have something like the MV Augusta and stuff that was added. They're all going to be from the Crew 2, so they're all going to be old models. And also on top of that, guys, the bikes are terrible. And I know people are probably going to agree with this, and the funny part is most people seem to be on the same page. Yes, Motorfest is going to have motorcycles, guys, but they are terrible. Now, the thing is, that can easily be fixed, bro, with some tweaks. For example, let's separate the bikes. Let's get them out of the categories of cars. For one, they're going to be way slower. All their top speeds are like 20 to 30 miles an hour, slower than most of the cars in the game, which is honestly a huge problem. On top of that, when you are riding them, they do not feel right. They're going to be heavy, a bit wonky. They don't turn that great sometimes, and I feel like a lot of people looking to race some of these bikes or be competitive is going to be completely impossible. But if you did end up having the motorcycles in their own category, then yeah, they might actually be useful, because if you are going to be in a race competitively, whether that's, let's say, Grand Races or a Summit, you are not going to pick a bike because you are instantly at a disadvantage with how they corner and their overall top speed. So yeah, these really do need a tweaking. Funny part is they did finally end up tweaking the motocross bikes basically a year and a half into the game. They are better. They're not still going to be all that great. I do know this is not a motocross game, but they're going to be better, still not all that fun to use and all that great, and they're going to be insanely unrealistic, which again, I know this is an arcade game, so I get it, but motocross bikes don't do 155 miles an hour, bro. They are basically going to have the same exact motor setup as the Rally Raid, which was basically copy and pasted into the bikes. With all of that being said, though, that is probably the biggest thing I keep asking myself is, yes, Motorfest is going to have very unique classes, but is that really going to make this game better or unique because they're not even utilizing them? And I feel like if they don't, they're probably going to take a huge L and most likely waste a massive amount of potential on these classes because they really can set this game apart even more from the competition. I really am interested to see what they do in the Crew 4. Like, are they going to keep them? Are they going to remove stuff? I do know they probably brought all the vehicles over and stuff like that from the Crew 1 and the Crew 2. But it really does make you wonder, man, are they going to keep these? Are they going to upgrade them in this game? Are they going to make them better? And the better question is, are they even going to listen and change the motorcycles around a bit to make them more unique and maybe add more races for planes and powerboats? Or are all these classes really just going to remain useless like something like Monster and Demolition Derby? It really is a question I keep asking myself, and with that, I also want to ask you guys the same exact question. Is Motorfest truly better with these unique, or I guess you could say the quote-unquote unique, classes in this game that are going to set it apart, but if they're not going to be utilizing these said classes, really making them feel unique to the game and also like they do care about them, is it really going to set this game apart if they're pretty much throwing in the classes or putting them into the game just to say they have them in there?